Now, I get in there, and what do I find? This wire is totally severed. So I'm taking a look down inside this thing, and the way it's assembled is just totally confounding. You can see that there's just tool marks where they obviously just pounded the crap out of stuff to make it fit. And then way down in the bottom there, I'll pull this out in a second to get a better look, there's a connector that is literally forced up against this rail and bent and twisted. With the amount of batteries that are in this thing, I'm surprised literally that this thing just didn't explode the first time it was used. So I'm pulling out this aluminum bracket here using a pair of channel locks and just going up and down from side to side and wobbling it out. It looks like it's just a ledge to hold in the battery pack, but it's too big for where it is. You can see how bent and deformed it is. So once I get it out, I may stick a styrofoam block in there, or I may put this back in. I'll just grind it down to shape better. I don't know if this thing does anything for heat dissipation or not. The way it's stuck in here, I doubt it. Okay, I got this piece of metal out here. Surprisingly, it looks like it's stainless steel. It's non-magnetic. It's too heavy to be aluminum and too strong, and it gives off sparks like crazy when you grind it, so I don't know. Anyway, so down in here is our battery pack, LED driver, and you can see the other half of that severed wire. So let's see what else is in here now. Okay, interesting. This is the cut wire is basically the 110 power supply here, the power line. So yeah, that's real safe. So I don't know how the thing got cut. I'm guessing, oh yeah, I can see that got cut. The battery is bouncing around like crazy in shipping and just in general use, and it pushed this wire, it sandwiched it between this rail here, or bracket, or piece of extruded aluminum, and the battery pack, and it just smashed it up and it cut it. So yeah, really lousy design here. Well, so it looks like I'm gonna have to take off the rest of the housing. I was trying to avoid that. I'm gonna fix this thing with doing minimal dismantling, but so pull off the plugs here and take out these Phillips screws, and then I can access deeper inside, get to that cut wire, and see what else is going on. Alright, so have the housing off, and you can get a better look at the circuit board here. Everything's pretty straightforward, but if you look at it, there's a lot of areas where the wires are rubbed pretty severely. So, I mean, this thing is designed like crap. Gasket looks to be in decent shape. I mean, so it looks like it's going to be, you know, waterproof or water resistant anyway. But yeah, this wiring, you can see there's dimples on the connectors where it's being pressed against different parts of this aluminum here. They should have probably ground these back or cut them. I mean, you can see inside of here, there's all kinds of rub marks and so on. And then this LED power supply seems to be really generic. It's just got a white photocopy stuck on it. Worst I've ever seen that. So anyway, let's get this thing cut out and see if that fixes the problem. Yeah, that's more stupidity here. So, you get the power coming in, so they put a blue wire here together, Then they have another connector here, which goes into your power supply. And coming from power supply, they have a wire spliced in here, and then you have the one here that has the break in it. I mean, you can get a power supply with longer leads on it, or just use one freaking wire. Why put all these little pieces in here? It's not like they're going through small sections or bulkheads or anything. This is just moronic. I don't know. And here's the power supply. It's mounted on this little rail here. And again, just really half-assed, tossed together, and looks like it's been ground by hand. And it's not affixed in place. So this is bouncing around too. And this is what was pressing against this connector down here. Alright, so I've got that slid out of the housing. So yeah, I'm obviously going to replace this mess of wires here. And the spec in the battery pack, you can see this thing's been rubbing up in a few places. They did bother sticking on one piece of foam. A lot of good that did. I got more of this stuff laying around, so I'll probably just add more. But you can see there's all kinds of marks on the wires where it was being pinched or crushed. Yeah, this thing is just a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, could you imagine if both these wires had been cut and you plug it in the wall? That would have been a real fun time. Quick solder on these things and putting in a longer wire, and this way we only have to worry about 2 splices instead of the half dozen that were in here. Alright, nice and neat. I'll pull the heat shrink up and then heat shrink these things on here. Alright, same thing. Got these soldered. I'm gonna put 2 levels or 2 thicknesses of heat shrink on here. I'll make that just 110, and I'm a little anal that way. Alright, so that connector's done. Nice long wire. Connector's done over there. So now we can test this thing and then reassemble it, and we should be good to go. I just plugged it in. Let's see here, and we have the charging indicator light is going. Hit the power switch, and look at that. We have a functioning light brought back from the dead. Alright. So, I'll finish reassembling this thing and let it charge for a while. I just noticed one reason why this thing is tough to get in the track where it's supposed to go. See the space you have there? The space you have here? They have the power supply mounted crooked as hell on the base plate. Okay, I really don't like the fact that this battery is just supposed to drop down in here. That's pretty bad. And I also just realized that I still have this thing plugged in, which is also pretty incredibly stupid. So I'm going to unplug that, and I'm going to get some of the foam that I have laying around to kind of like make a support for this thing so it doesn't bounce around and cause all the kinds of problems that we saw before. Alright, so quick piece of foam. That's going to tuck down in here. It's got a little bit of a bridge cut into it, so it's off the wires in the circuit board, and that'll support the battery nicely. And then I'll get some around the sides, and we should be good to go with that. I also decided it would be a good idea if I put some foam tape around the battery just to suspend it and stop it from bumping up against these side rails in the future, thus preventing any more problems with wires being broken. So here's all the foam around it. Things cushion really nicely. This thing's not going anywhere, so we're not going to have any more problems. This I'm just dropping here to anchor the bottom of it, so you can drop this thing or kick it and that battery's not going to shift anymore. So looks like we should be good to go. I'll give it one more test and then reassemble. All right, so the base pieces are on. It's not plugged in right now, but because the battery is connected and everything's working properly, we still have light. So let's turn that off, attach the legs. Yep, so there it is, finished, standing up. I mean, is it worth the money? Not really, especially the way things put together. But once fixed, I mean, it's pretty decently bright. I think I'm going to use this thing more as a prop for photo shoots than anything else. The fall off is really too big to light up a whole room. They need like 4 or 5 of these things. But hopefully this may help somebody.